Revelation is not about the man, it's about the moment, and you feel that truth pressing against your chest like a heartbeat trying to break free. You can picture yourself standing in a dimly lit room, watching the world through a narrow window as events unfold far beyond your control. Yet something inside you whispers that this moment carries weight, a weight that has nothing to do with titles, positions, or personalities. It's the kind of moment that forces the world to pause and examine itself, to ask uncomfortable questions it has avoided for years. And as the noise of opinions grows louder, you begin sensing a deeper story being written, one that invites you to open your eyes, take a breath, and recognize that revelation does not revolve around a single person, but around the turning of a season that demands awakening. You walk through a crowded street where screens glow with breaking news, each headline trying to convince you that destiny sits on the shoulders of one individual. But as you keep moving, weaving through strangers and conversations, you realize something powerful. The real revelation is happening inside the hearts of the people, not in the image of the man they're pointing to. It feels cinematic, like you're moving in slow motion while everyone else rushes past you, unaware of the deeper current pulling the nation forward. This moment is stripping away illusions, reminding you that transformation doesn't come from personalities. It comes from shifts, from storms, from the pressure that forces hidden things to surface. And in the middle of all the noise, you feel a strange peace rise within you. The night sky stretches above you as you step onto an empty rooftop, letting the wind hit your face while distant city lights flicker like restless souls. You close your eyes and feel the atmosphere trembling, not with fear, but with anticipation, as though creation itself knows something is about to break open. This revelation is bigger than headlines, bigger than the stage on which one man stands. It is the kind of moment that reshapes generations, the kind that separates comfort from calling. You realize then that revelation is never personal, it is purposeful. It's the push that forces a nation to grow, to confront its shadows, to rise above division. And somehow, standing under that vast sky, you begin to understand that this moment is calling you to rise too. You find yourself remembering all the times you thought history was shaped by heroes alone, by powerful figures whose names dominated conversations. But now you're beginning to see the truth woven between every event unfolding in front of you. The revelation isn't coming from a man, it's coming through the moment, a moment demanding courage, vision, and clarity from everyone willing to see beyond the surface. It feels like a redemption arc not only for the nation but for you personally, because in witnessing this shaking, you're forced to confront your own fears, your own doubts, your own unfinished story. And you start realizing that maybe the reason you're watching this moment unfold is because it's shaping you as much as it's shaping the nation. As dawn slowly breaks, painting the horizon in soft gold, you stand at the edge of a new day feeling something inside you ignite. This moment, this revelation, this shift, it was never about the man being talked about, praised, or criticized. It is about awakening. It is about clarity. It is about the kind of inner transformation that only happens when the world is shaken enough to force people to see the truth. And as the light touches your face, you feel yourself stepping into a new kind of strength, realizing that this moment is a divine turning point, not just for the nation but for you. You finally understand that revelation is not about the man, it's about the moment that awakens the people strong enough to rise within it. Every nation reaches a breaking point before it reaches clarity, and you can almost feel that truth echoing inside your own chest like a distant explosion finally catching up to you. You stand in a place where the world feels heavy, where the sky looks darker than it should, where conversations feel tense even when no one is speaking. It's the moment before the storm breaks, the moment when everything feels stretched to its limit, and you can sense something pulling at the seams of society. That pressure isn't just political, it's spiritual, emotional, deeply human. As you watch the tension rise around you, it feels like you're watching a movie scene where the hero doesn't yet realize they're standing on the edge of transformation. Nations, like people, don't find their truth in calm waters. They find it when everything they've depended on starts to shake. You walk through a city alive with noise, lights flickering, people hurrying past with worry in their eyes. You notice how everyone feels the weight of uncertainty, even if they don't say it aloud. It's the same weight that pushes a nation toward its breaking point, the same invisible force that compels people to question who they are and what they truly believe. Yet as you move through the crowd, you begin to see something deeper, the quiet strength that always emerges when things get hard. It's in the steady steps of a mother carrying her child, in the determined look of a man heading to work despite his fear, in the whispered prayers rising from hearts that refuse to give up. It's only when things begin to crumble that a nation discovers what's unbreakable. Later that night you find yourself standing alone on a balcony overlooking a restless world, the wind cool against your skin, the moon half hidden behind drifting clouds. From up here everything looks both fragile and beautiful. You realize that breaking points aren't signs of failure, they're signs of truth demanding to be seen. No nation, no person reaches clarity without first being tested, stretched, and stripped of illusions. The tension you feel in the air is the same tension a soul feels before a breakthrough. It's the moment before light cuts through darkness, the moment before a story shifts direction. As you breathe in the night air, you sense that clarity is not far. It arrives only when the old ways can no longer hold. Your mind drifts back to times in your own life when you reached the edge, moments when everything seemed too heavy, when you felt like you were falling apart, when you questioned your strength. And then you remember what happened after. You didn't collapse, you transformed. You didn't break, you awakened. Nations move the same way. Before clarity comes, confusion rises. Before unity comes, division surfaces. Before purpose comes, pressure builds. You suddenly see the parallel between a nation's journey and your own redemption story. Both require a breaking, a confrontation with what's been ignored, a willingness to face uncomfortable truth. And both, if they endure the storm, emerge stronger than before. As dawn finally approaches, painting the world with soft gold and gentle warmth, you stand in the quiet glow of a new beginning. The breaking point hasn't destroyed the nation. It has revealed it. It has peeled back layers, exposed motives, stirred souls, awakened hearts. And in that awakening lies clarity, hard, won, deeply earned, painfully beautiful. You feel it within yourself too, a steady, rising certainty that even in the darkest nights, the story is never over. Breaking points are not endings, they are thresholds. And as the first light touches your face, you understand that clarity always waits on the other side of pressure, both for nations and for the people brave enough to walk through it. People fear disruption, but revelation is always disruptive, and you feel that truth settle into your bones like the first rumble of an approaching storm. You stand in the middle of a moment where everything familiar begins to tremble, where routines feel fragile and certainties start to dissolve. There's a quiet panic that spreads when life no longer behaves the way people expect it to, when the ground beneath them shifts just enough to expose what lies beneath. But as you watch this unfolding, it feels like a scene from a redemption film, the kind where the main character doesn't yet realize that the shaking is not meant to destroy them, but to awaken them. Disruption isn't the villain, it's the doorway. And while fear tries to convince the world to cling to the old, revelation pushes everything toward the truth that has been waiting to break through. You walk through a neighborhood where conversations sound strained, where people whisper about uncertainty as if speaking too loudly might make it worse. You can see how deeply humanity craves stability, even when that stability has been built on half-truths and comfortable illusions. Fear thrives in disruption because change threatens control, and people mistake control for safety. Yet as you observe the worry around you, you also notice something else rising quietly beneath the surface, an unspoken hunger for truth, for meaning, for something real. It's almost cinematic the way this tension plays out, like a character standing at the edge of a cliff, terrified to jump but equally terrified to stay where they are. Disruption forces a choice that no one feels ready for, yet everyone needs. Later, as you step into the stillness of an empty room lit only by the soft glow of a single lamp, you feel the weight of the moment settle over you. It's the kind of silence that pulls hidden things to the surface, the kind that exposes what you've avoided, resisted, or buried. Revelation doesn't come gently. It breaks patterns, opens wounds, pulls masks away. You realize that every breakthrough in your life, the moments that shaped you the most, came wrapped in disruption. Nothing ever changed when everything stayed comfortable. It was always the unexpected, the unwanted, the uncontrollable that forced you to see clearly. And now you understand why revelation shakes people. Truth doesn't slip quietly into a room. It kicks the door open. Your mind drifts to times when you begged for clarity, but resisted the discomfort required to receive it. You wanted answers without upheaval, healing without confrontation, growth without stretching. But life never works that way, neither does destiny. Revelation requires upheaval because truth demands space, and anything built on fear, lies, or false security must crumble for clarity to stand. You begin to see the beauty inside the disruption, the way it strips away everything that no longer belongs, the way it forces you to confront what you've been avoiding, the way it pushes you into a version of yourself you wouldn't have reached on your own. In your own story, the most disruptive seasons were the ones that saved you. As the night sky deepens and a quiet wind brushes against your skin, you step outside and feel the world shifting around you. What once felt threatening now feels purposeful, almost sacred. Disruption has softened your fear and sharpened your vision. You recognize now that revelation isn't chaos, it's alignment. It isn't the end, it's the beginning. People fear disruption because it breaks the illusion of control. But revelation uses that breaking to rebuild something truer, stronger, more unshakable. And as you stand in the cool darkness, breathing in the possibility of what comes next, you feel a steady strength rising within you. You are no longer afraid of the shaking. You understand now that every revelation requires it. Your role is not to follow the noise, but to discern the season, and that truth hits you like a quiet, steady light cutting through a chaotic night. You stand in the middle of a world where voices compete for your attention, each one louder, sharper, more urgent than the last. The noise feels like a storm, relentless, confusing, impossible to outrun. But somewhere beneath that storm there is a softer call, a deeper pull, something that doesn't shout but speaks. It feels like a scene in a redemption movie where the main character stops running long enough to hear their own heartbeat again. You begin to realize that not every voice deserves your energy, not every opinion is meant to shape your direction. Noise demands reaction, but seasons demand understanding. And this moment in your life is not calling you to react, it's calling you to discern. You walk through a busy street where screens flash headlines, conversations spill into the air, and everyone seems convinced they know what comes next. The world is full of noise, fear disguised as certainty, anger presented as truth, assumptions wrapped in confidence. But as you move through the crowd, you notice something shifting within you. You start paying attention not to the loudest voices, but to the patterns beneath them. You feel a quiet strength rising in your chest, as if something inside you is finally waking up. Discernment doesn't ask, "What are people saying?" It asks, "What is really happening beneath the surface?" And in that moment, you realize that while the world is busy reacting, you are learning to see. Later, you find yourself standing alone in a quiet room where the lights are low and the air feels still, like the world has finally paused long enough for you to breathe. You sit down, close your eyes, and let the silence settle over you. It's here in this calm that you hear what noise has been drowning out, your intuition, your spirit, your awareness of the season you're in. You sense that something about your life, your journey, your purpose is shifting, not chaotically, not violently, but intentionally. Seasons don't change through noise, they change through alignment. You begin to understand that discernment is a skill learned in solitude, not in crowds. And though the world demands your reaction, your soul demands your stillness. Your mind drifts to moments when you followed the noise, when you let the panic of others become your own, when you allowed urgency to disguise itself as direction. You remember how exhausted it made you, how disconnected you felt, how easily chaos became your compass. But now, something in you refuses to go back to that version of yourself. You realize that discerning the season means understanding timing, recognizing patterns, sensing when to move and when to wait. It means listening to the deeper story instead of the louder one. And for the first time in a long time, you feel anchored, not by what people say, but by what you know within. As the night unfolds and a soft breeze moves through the open window, you step outside and breathe in the cool air. The world looks different now, not quieter, but clearer. The noise is still there, swirling and shouting in the distance, but it no longer controls you. You recognize now that your strength comes from